feel like I am in elementary school again, and this is my show and tell for the day. Well, I just wanted to make a video explaining some of the things that happened while I was on my road trip because I didn't really want to do any voiceovers. I wanted to just keep it at what I had filmed while I was on the actual trip, and this will give me a good chance to kind of reflect on everything that happened. So I took I believe it was 15-day trip. It was 15 days and I went through, I'm not sure how many states, a lot. But I drove through, I believe it was somewhere around 20 states all by myself. And it was quite the journey. I had taken a trip back in 2017 with my ex-boyfriend Jordan and my best friend Phoebe. And we had gone from Florida to Wisconsin, and we stopped at the Georgia Aquarium and the Willis Tower on the way there. And then on the way back, I came back with my cousin, but she was asleep the entire time, so I did all the driving by myself, basically. And that trip was the first time I had ever actually driven long distance by myself, because I had just gotten my license in 2016, December 2016. So I had only had my license for like 6 months when that happened. So this time I went 100% by myself. My first place I stopped was in Savannah, and I showed you videos of that. Nothing big happened there really that I didn't already show. And then I went to, from there, that same night I drove to Myrtle Beach and I spent the night there. And I stayed with my cousin. Her and I are pretty close, and so I got to spend some time with her. I hadn't seen her since January of this year, I believe. So that was really nice. I got to spend some time with her and her husband, Andrew, who's a big part of our family. And then I got on the road the next morning and I drove to DC. And on my, oh, I forgot this. So on my way from Savannah to Myrtle Beach, I was so tired. So I pulled over in a gas station. I took a nap for like 45 minutes, and you'll be surprised at how much 45 minutes can do. And when I woke up, I continued driving, and I called my cousin immediately to let her know that, hey, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be about an hour late because I fell asleep. And I had been so careful watching the speed limit. I drive a bright yellow Mustang, bright yellow. And it's a performance car, so it's loud and obnoxious. And if I speed up just a little bit, every cop goes, wheel, 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 wheel. Because like, it's a performance car. And then they pull me over and they see it's me and they feel bad, but then they still give me a ticket anyway. So I was driving and I was on the phone with my cousin, and she said, you better watch the speed limit. And I was like, I'm good. I've been on cruise control this whole time. Like, I'm good. And then all of a sudden I see, wee, 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 wee. And a cop pulled me over and I got a beautiful speeding ticket. $180. It says my eyes are brown on this. They're not brown. They're bright blue. So I was going 78 in a 60. And here's the thing. Right before that, it was at a 70. And I literally was like, I don't know what the speed limit is. And everybody else was going the same speed, so I was just gonna keep going. Turns out I was going 78 in the 60. This is my third speeding ticket in 1 year. I need to stop, I think. The date of the trial is October 10th. I'm probably not gonna go. That's my sister's birthday. That's funny because my first speeding ticket I got, that was the same day of the trial as well, last year. It says that I'm gonna get 4 points on my license. So I have 0 points on my license. I got out of the other 2 tickets. So maybe I'll go, who knows? I don't wanna drive all the way up there. That's so far away. Then I went on my way. I was in Myrtle Beach, spent the night there, spent some time with my cousin, and then I kept going. So the next morning I drove from Myrtle Beach to Virginia, I believe. By the way, I didn't have a hotel room the entire trip. Like, not once did I stay in a hotel. If I wasn't with family or friends, then I was in my car, which was exhausting, which is why my face is still recovering. So I was driving and I stopped in, I believe it was Virginia, and I was in a Walmart parking lot because they're like the safest places to be. And this guy kept coming up to my window and asking me, like, he's like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then he left and he came back 45 minutes later, and I was like laying down ready to go to sleep. Mind you, I was playing on my iPhone XR, watching YouTube on my iPad in my Mustang with a Florida license plate, and he comes up to my window, knocks on it. Like, do you think that's okay? It's 11 o'clock at night and you're just coming up to my window. And he's like, hey, are you homeless by any chance? And I looked at him, I'm like, no. What? No. So then he asked me if I wanted to come back to his apartment with him and he would let me use the shower and have a nice bed. And I was like, my boyfriend's in Walmart right now. If you don't move soon, he's gonna come out and beat you up. Like, no. And he got out of there real quick. So that was good on my end to think like that. But I was really just not happy about that situation. Not great. So then I went to DC. And I hung out there for the next day. This is the next day. And then that night, I think I stayed in Maryland. But on my way to DC, it was really cool. I got to see Quantico as I was driving. And I got to see some cool street art in Virginia. After I left DC, I drove to Chicago. When I got to Chicago, I was so tired. I was so upset because I had been driving all day and I couldn't find parking anywhere that was decently priced. So I paid $35 to park for one night. And it wasn't even for one night, it was for 3 hours. So I was not happy. So I parked and I got over into Lollapalooza. I got to see the Chainsmokers. That was the first night. That's all I saw, and then I went back to my car. And then I stayed in a McDonald's parking lot. And then I had asked somebody while I was in Lollapalooza, I said, hey, can you help me figure out where to park? Like, I need somewhere safe to park that isn't gonna cost a lot of money. And somebody told me about the train. So from then on, I started riding the train. I would park over on the corner of 54th and C-Mark, and then I would ride the train for about 30 minutes every single day. So it ended up being like $5 a day, which ended up making it $15 for 3 days instead of $35 for one day. Then I stayed in a McDonald's parking lot every night, and one morning I woke up to a cop knocking on my window, and he said that somebody reported there was a child in the back seat because apparently I looked like a kid. And I told him, I was like, oh man, I'm sorry. I was at Lollapalooza and like I was so tired and I was a little drunk and didn't want to drive home. And he's like, oh no, you're fine. You can sleep here all you want. He's like, I just gotta check because I got a call. And I was like, cool. Which, mind you, I hadn't had a single drink the entire time I was at Lollapalooza. So again, good thinking on my end. So at Lollapalooza, I got this cute shirt. It says Lala and it has the bands on the back, which makes me really happy. I love band tees. Never wear them, but I love them. They're super comfortable too. So they had this thing where you could pick up plastic bottles and recyclables, and if you picked them up and you brought them a huge bag of them to this booth, they would give you a shirt. And so I got this cool shirt. It has girls carrying bottles. It says rock and recycle. And then on the back, it has all the people that performed at Lollapalooza, which is pretty cool. They had a ton of different booths that you could go to for free. And so some of the other things I got this cute little bandana that says Lollapalooza. I put this in my Lollapalooza video, but I got this bag. It says Lollapalooza, which this became so helpful. And I also got a fanny pack that was clear with a band the same color as this. And I got this cute patch to put on it and this cute tassel. And that was at American Eagle. And unfortunately I left that in my car and I don't feel like going down and getting it. But they also had this thing at American Eagle where you could get your aura read. And I hate this picture of me. It looks so bad because she told me to smile, look down, and look up. So I kind of look awkward. So they take a picture, they have you sit down, they have you put your hand on this aura reader, and then they take your picture. And so she told me, she said she was really surprised because I took it at like 8 o'clock at night. No, I think it was more like 7. And she was really surprised because she said that usually at the end of the night, people start getting blue and purple auras, like they're more chill. If she never sees any auras that are as bright as mine was that late at night. And she said that this shows your past. Mine's pretty dark. This shows your present, and this shows your future. Or the other way around. But it's your past, present, and future. And so I'm just gonna read you guys what the orange and red mean. If you know me at all, it's so on point, and I don't know if I believe in this stuff, but it's one of those things. But red says passionate, strong, leader, fierce, courageous, determined, hardworking, practical, and adventurous. And the yellow says cheerful, enthusiastic, optimistic, joyful, generous, intellectual, and open-minded, which is me to a T. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's a cool memory to have. At the Rock and Recycle booth, which is where I got the shirt, not this one, but the other one, they also had these cute little buttons, and they had the thing where you could write a poem to Mother Nature, which I also put in my Lollapalooza video. But this one says power without pollution. This one says compost. And this one says rock the earth. And I really like these because obviously I love the environment and I thought it was really cool. So I got those. So now we're gonna get to the craziest part of Lollapalooza. So I've never been to a music festival. I go to concerts all the time, love concerts, go to them all the time. And I've never had an issue with concerts, like I love them. Lollapalooza was just so extravagant that it was such a different level than what I was expecting. And like, I know a lot of people go and they do drugs or they get drunk and they drink and everything. And everybody was on a different level than me because I wanted to be completely sober the entire time. I didn't want to have a single drink. I just wanted to be able to enjoy the moment. And it was definitely not something I would ever probably do again. It was not my favorite thing I've ever done. But I'm so glad I got the opportunity to do it. So my favorite artist is NF, and that's probably the whole reason I went. I just really wanted to see NF. And I saw him earlier this year at Universal. He performed for Mardi Gras. That was my first time seeing him. And then I saw him at Lala, and then I'm hoping to see him again next month. So I looked at the chart and it said that he was going on at, I believe, 7:30, and it was like 6:30. So actually it was like 6. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna make sure I'm there early. Like, I'm gonna go hang out. Because I didn't see anybody in the time slot before him because there was somebody performing at the other stage. So I was like, they're not gonna have somebody right next to him. So I went over and there was like so many people already. And I was like, wow, this is a lot of NF fans. But then somebody said that somebody else was going on and I was confused. And then they said that that person was canceled and they had somebody called Polo G going on. Never have heard of this guy. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll just chill out and listen to his music. No, it wasn't just chill. Like, I don't know what was wrong with everybody there, but there was a couple in front of me that was like getting it on, doing some not even PG-13 things. And I was so uncomfortable. And somebody said that the girl was 16 and that we should stop her, but like, what are we supposed to do? So people were like shoving me into them and I felt so uncomfortable. And like, I'm not good in big crowds. I hate big crowds. And so I was already really anxious and I was getting slammed into people. It was so hot. I could barely breathe. I was already dehydrated because I didn't want to spend $10 on water and I didn't have a water bottle. So I was so dehydrated and tired and I was getting slammed into people and I couldn't breathe. And my hair was down like this. Like, it was all the way down. And people started pulling on my hair and pulling me down, and I was wearing a crop top and jeans, and I was getting pulled every which way. I was getting slammed into. There were people moshing, so they were going around in circles, and I was just like, I can't breathe. And at one point, somebody ripped on my belly button ring, and there was blood everywhere. So I'm just getting smacked around. I was crying, like full on crying. I had a pair of sunglasses on top of my head. Somebody ripped them off and they were caught in my hair. So my hair was being pulled every which way. And I had these glasses on that were getting pulled. I had my nose ring was getting pulled out. I was so scared. I was crying because I was so hot and I couldn't breathe. Like, I literally couldn't breathe. I started having a panic attack. And people were just going crazy. Nobody cared. Like, I was almost dying, and people were just like, oh, keep going, keep going, keep going. And I was like, stop, like, I can't breathe. And people kept pushing me and smiling and laughing. And I'm like, can you not see I'm crying? So I started to pass out. Like, I was literally starting to black out, and people were like, she needs a medic. Like, somebody get her a medic. So people started screaming, she needs a medic, she needs a medic. And all of a sudden I started getting like pushed to the front. And then I remember being pushed up to the front gate area, and somebody pulled me over and pulled me down below the stage. And they sat me down. They asked me if I was okay. They told me that they needed to take me to the medic center because I was bleeding and I needed medical attention. And I was like, I need a CNF. I don't care. Which literally, I didn't care. Like, all I wanted was, I wanted out of that situation, and then I wanted a CNF. And so they got me cleaned up because I was really dusty. I had blood everywhere. So they cleaned me up, gave me some water. I went through like 4 water bottles in a 20-minute span. I was thirsty. So then they told me that unfortunately I would have to go out and all the way back around to get where I was. They told me they couldn't just put me in the front, and I would have to wait to CNF again. And I was so upset because I almost died to CNF. Like, literally almost died. Like, I know I'm laughing about it now because it's so funny, but during that time, that was one of the worst things I've ever gone through. It was such a horrible time in my life. So I went all the way around, and luckily some people were like, oh my God, that's the girl that almost died. Let's let her go up front. So I ended up being in the 3rd row to CNF, which wasn't terrible because I got really close. I met this really cool kid there. He was sitting, and he was a young YouTuber. He was talking to me, and I asked him if he wanted to go in front of me so we could see better, and he's like, no, it's cool. And then it was kind of funny because the next day I saw on Instagram, a little boy ended up on Zayn Hijazi of the Bog Squad. He ended up on his Instagram story, and I thought that was so cute. I was like, oh my God, that's the little boy I know. So anyway, that's how I almost died. Lucky to be alive. Lucky I still have a belly button ring, wasn't ripped out. My nose ring wasn't ripped out. My hair is still here. Didn't die completely. So then the next day was Saturday. That morning, on Saturday morning, I went to the Adler Planetarium because I have a Bank of America card and you can get into certain museums for free. And I had a couple hours before the next show I wanted to watch went on. I got a cute little free museum entry, and so I'm going to insert some pictures right here. So that was a cool experience. I have never been to a planetarium, so I really like that. And then I was in the Adler Planetarium when I looked on Instagram and I saw that David Dobrik was in Chicago. And if you don't know, David Dobrik is the love of my life. Like, I'm going to marry him. He is the lock screen on my phone. I talk about him all the time. I wear his merch all the time. Like, watch all of his videos. Obsessed. So I was in the planetarium. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go find them. So I went, and that night 21 Pilots was performing, and I knew they were gonna be there. So I went to the AJR concert and had some fun there, and I thought I would have seen them, but I honestly didn't see them there, which is surprising because David Dobrik loves AJR. Turns out they were there, I just didn't see them. That night, I was walking over to the 21 Pilots area, and I saw this, like, 3 girls staring, and I was like, I found them. And this makes me sound so weird because, like, I didn't want to invade on their privacy, but at the same time I was like, oh my God, these are my idols, I need to see them. So I walked over and I said to the girls, what are we looking at? And they're like, the Bog Squad, David Dobrik, he's up there. And I was like, I knew it. So I went over there and I stood there and took a 30-minute long video waiting for them. And they ended up coming over. So I got to see Natalie, Reggie, Jay Boyce, Zayn Hijazi was there, Scottie Kristin, Jason, David, I'm missing a bunch of people, Ilya, Dima, so many people. And I was so excited, like literally screaming. So I'm gonna insert some video footage of that right here. So David kind of seemed annoyed that we were standing there, which, like, everything I've ever seen, he always says, like, oh, I'm so happy to see my fans and stuff, but he came out, and you can see it in the clip, he kind of, like, waved and then went like this, and it was kind of like, oh, I'm sorry, like, I'm sorry I'm obsessed with you. But Jason was totally awesome. He was like dancing up there. He was so excited. And even Zane, like, said hi, and, like, I got that all on video, which was great. And there were only, like, 3 of us down there, 4 of us down there. And so it was really cool because I felt really personal. And then I actually screenshotted a picture, and I didn't notice this until later, but I screenshot a picture that was on one of their Instagram stories. And then if you zoom in, you can see me standing down there. And I was like, oh! I was also on Kristin's story, but it was, like, a split second. So that was really cool. And then they came down, and I knew they were coming down, and Natalie ended up walking by me, and I was the only one standing there. And I was like, my first instinct was to go over and give her a hug. And then I was like, oh God, because I went to go give her a hug, and she gave me a look like, do not touch me. And I was like, what am I doing? I'm dumb. I don't know this girl. So I have it on video. I was like, hi, Natalie. And she waved back at me. It's really dark, so I'm gonna insert that here. So it's really dark, but yeah, that was cool. She was there. And then I was standing because I was like, oh, David has to come. Like, I know he's gonna come. And so I was still standing there because I knew he was gonna come. And all of a sudden, I was just standing, and I turned, and I just see something go running past me, like, really fast. And it was David, followed by Jeff, and then Jason. And Jason's pants were, like, falling down, so he was, like, running after him, like, kind of pulling up his pants. Literally, David is so fast. Like, what? I didn't know that. But he went running by, and then Jeff went running by, and Jason went running by. And sadly, my camera wouldn't focus, so you can't really see it because it wouldn't zoom in and focus on them. But you can see them kind of running, and I'll insert that here. So then after that happened, I was, like, sad because I wasn't gonna chase after David. Some people did, but I was like, I ain't gonna, I love him, but I'm gonna let him enjoy his night. Like, he's running for a reason. And then I saw Reggie go walking by, and I knew the rest of them were coming. And then it was so cute because Scottie and Kristin they were dancing as they were walking. And it was the cutest thing ever, and fans were going up and taking pictures with them, and they were totally cool with it. They were dancing with people. So then I got that video clip, and then after they were dancing, I went up and I was like, Kristin, can I get a picture with you? And she's like, yeah, let's do it. And so we took a picture, and she told me to stop shaking because she's a human just like me, and that was, like, so sweet. And then Scottie came over, and I was like, Scottie, can I get a picture? And he's like, yeah, of course, let's go. So he took a picture with me. That one turned out a little less shaky. But I had seen Scottie, Toddy, and Bruce perform earlier this year at the Ruin Your Party tour, and I didn't get the meet and greet. So it was really cool that I got to meet them, and they were both so sweet. So that was just an amazing experience that I got those pictures. And I actually just bought tickets to go see Jason in Miami next weekend. So I paid for the meet and greet because I really love Jason. I think that he is probably like the most down to earth out of all of them. So I'm really excited to do that, and I know for a fact that Zane's gonna be there as well, so I'm gonna meet both of them. So that happened at Lala. I can't really think of anything else that really happened that stood out to me. I was just really excited about that. I also went to the art museum, the Art Institute of Chicago, and I'm gonna put a short montage right here of some of my favorite paintings I saw there. They had a lot of amazing artists there. My favorite was Monet, and they had a ton of Monet, so I was very happy about that. And then, so after I left Lala, I drove to my grandparents' house. So after I left on the final night, the Ariana Grande night, I was driving, I was so tired, so I pulled over in a McDonald's parking lot and I fell asleep. And I woke up the next morning and my car wouldn't start. And so you guys already know this story. My car wouldn't start and we got a tow truck. They opened up the doors and everything and the battery was dead. Turns out I left my lights on all night like an idiot. So anyway, that's what happened there. All those kids that were around my car, don't worry, they were super nice, super friendly. They were amazing. They helped me out so much. So then I was on my way. I got to see my grandparents. I spent some time with them. I haven't seen them in over a year. And then I went to my mom's. She lives in Minnesota, so I got to see her and spend some time with her and my little sister. And then I drove up to my dad's. He's also in Minnesota, and I went and stayed with him and got to see my brother and sister as well. And while I was there, I decided to run 2 races. Now, I run in honor of my aunt who committed suicide last year. So I tend to not train, I just like to run. So the first race that I ran was the from Gopher to Badger run. So I ran from Minnesota to Wisconsin, which is really cool because I was born in Minnesota but grew up in Wisconsin. But my dad always lived in Minnesota as well. And that was on August 10th of this year. So this one was a half marathon, which is 13.1 miles, if you didn't know. And I don't remember my exact time right now for some reason. Usually I'm really good about my times, but I beat my best half marathon time by 5 minutes because my best half marathon time was 3 hours, 4 minutes, and 3 seconds. So that was really great. I've only ran 2 half marathons. This is my second one. And then this is my beautiful medal I got. So, and then they also gave me this cute little runner's towel when I got done too. This says "Wonderful." How do you feel the minute after you finish your run? So that was cute. And my dad was there, and my dad's a runner. My dad's an actual runner. He's done, he's qualified for the Boston Marathon. I don't think he's actually done it. I think he just qualified. But my dad runs, and my aunt was a runner, and my cousin's a runner. And so my dad was there, and he brought my brother and sister who are twins. And they were running with me, and they would come to every other mile and cheer me on, which was just amazing. I've never had anybody go with me when I run usually and cheer me on. So I have some pictures from that. I'm gonna insert them here. And then the next day I decided to run another race. I had planned this a while back, so I knew I was gonna be running these 2 races, but I didn't realize how hard it was gonna be. I was so sore and tired after that first race. So the next day I ran another race called the Run and Ride series, which was, I believe, the last race that my aunt actually ran. She ran it in North Carolina at Carowinds with my cousin, and I ran the Valley Fair version in Minnesota. Got this cute shirt. And then this year, this is all the places it was at. I ran the 3rd one in Valley Fair. And then you get to go and ride all the roller coasters after, which is really cool. And they gave me this cute little bandana thing. You can put it over your face like a mask. You can put it in your hair like a headband, which is what I did. And then this is my cute little medal. And this one I only did a quarter marathon because I knew I was gonna be tired. And I finished 5th in my age group, which was great. But I was just tired, so my time wasn't the best. I'm gonna insert it here, but it wasn't the best. So here are some more pictures from that. And then I drove and saw my best friend in Madison, my best friend from high school, Phoebe. Her and I spent a couple hours together, and then I started driving home. And on my way home, I got to stop in Rochelle, Illinois. I got this cute shirt, which, like, I never find anything with my name on it, so I was really excited about this. And then I just drove home. I went to the Georgia Aquarium, which I made a whole vlog about that. And other than that, I came home and, oh, when I was in Wisconsin, my window went down and wouldn't go back up. Like, I had so many car issues that, like, it didn't seem like it was that big of a deal, but, like, it was frustrating at the time. I came back from my trip, and literally 2 days after I came home, my engine in my car blew up, basically. And I'm not a car person, so I don't know what happened, but I guess I, like, blew the head gasket or broke the manifold. Something happened, something cracked. So I got that fixed because I was driving and it just started smoking. Everything went out. The thermostat said that it was overheating, and it just started smoking. And I was just like, what the heck? I don't know what's happening. So I was freaking out. And then I got it fixed. And then earlier this week, it happened again. And my car just decided to overheat. I had to get it fixed again. Turns out that the gasket or something was broken when they put it in. So hopefully now, keep our fingers crossed, I'm not gonna have any more issues with my car. But other than that, everything's been great. I drove home, I went back to work, started school up and everything, and now we're here. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know it's long. I've been recording for the last 40 minutes, this story, but I was just really excited to tell you guys some of the exciting things that happen. It's crazy to take a trip at 22 years old all by yourself all around the country. So that was crazy, and I had a great time. And if you ever get the opportunity to do something like that, if you're scared, it's okay, but do it anyway, because honestly, it was so worth it and quite the experience, and I'm so happy I got to do that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my little story time, and I will see you guys next week. So the moral of my story is that I just want everybody to know, if you're still listening, that if you ever think that you're not strong enough to do something, brave enough to do something, you're scared, if you're scared to travel, if you don't think you have the money or the time, or you have a job that you're scared to leave, like, just do it, because you only live once in your job. If they can't understand that, then it's not worth it, because the job will replace you in a second, but you will never be able to replace these moments that you can take for yourself. And I hate being all preachy and everything, but, like, this experience that I've had over the last 2 weeks has been everything to me, and I've never been happier in my entire life, and I feel like I have a clear mind going into the rest of this year, and it's just amazing. And I believe that as long as you're putting out positive vibes into the world, you're gonna get positive vibes back. So I'm gonna go drive back to Florida now, so see y'all on the other side.